Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing really well and welcome back to my podcast, Life of an Artrepreneur, and welcome back to the 70th episode of Life of an Artrepreneur, which is just insane. I never thought I'd make it even to 50 episodes, never mind 70. I definitely do have some other artists coming on the podcast very soon. I have had a few questions like, when's the next artist coming on? Just waiting for the right time and dates and everything for them. But yeah, a few more conversations with artists are being planned. If you're watching on YouTube, then you might also notice that the lambs are behind me. They're back on the wall. I went down to London on Friday to collect them back from the Green and Stone Gallery. The piece was exhibited at the Green and Stone Gallery for their summer 2025 exhibition, which basically ran through the whole of August. So it was really good exposure. Unfortunately, it didn't sell, but it's filled the gap on the wall, so that's something. And to be honest, this has been my background now for the past however many episodes, and I actually really like these three together. I've got another two like really tiny little portraits that I did within like a timed limit. And I feel like all five of them as a series next to each other would look quite good. So I don't know whether to put even more on the wall. But yeah, this week I wanted to talk about social media a little bit more. I have done 2 episodes in the past about how to grow on social media, specifically Instagram and TikTok, and then another one about Facebook and sort of different other platforms. They're actually one of the first 2 episodes I ever did, so I'll link them both below in case you've missed them and want to go and watch them back. This episode is going to be similar, but I wanted to talk more about how social media can kind of amplify your exposure and just amplify everything to do with your business. Even if you don't have a creative business and you just draw for fun, the reach you can get can be massive if you just have a bit of a structure and you kind of implement a bit of a social media strategy. But on the other side of that, social media isn't essential for every artist. Some people don't like it, but I think in this day and age and like the way that things are going, you're kind of limiting yourself a lot if you don't put yourself out there on social media. I think it's not essential, but I think in a way it kind of is essential for an artist's success. So why does a social media strategy help? So I'm not going to sit here and say that I have one and I'm like super organised and I really stick by it, because I definitely don't. But I think actually taking some time to think about what kind of content you're making and putting out there will help you long term, because you're kind of aiming your content towards something then, towards a goal, like aiming it towards an audience. You're not just kind of posting randomly like willy-nilly. I think I try and see it as the content that I post, I try and use that content to kind of guide my audience onto the next sort of phase of my artist journey, or I don't know, kind of what I'm interested in, which at the minute is like the teaching side. So I feel like I've been posting more about tutorials and my Patreon and just like top tips and what I kind of get up to day to day more than commissions. But I think a strategy helps because more than anything, it gives you that structure. Like it keeps you posting regularly without feeling so overwhelmed. I feel like I'm someone who will sometimes be very on the ball with posting on social media, especially if I've got, you know, a few reels scheduled and I've done a few videos or posts and I've got them ready kind of for the next few weeks and I've scheduled them. That definitely keeps me on track. But if I don't have that, I still will have sort of a few days, a few weeks where I'm kind of very consistent, and then I'll just kind of drop off the face of the earth for a while, which I feel like a lot of artists can relate to. Like I still post on stories because that's really easy to do, because it's just like literally one click. You don't have to think about sounds. You don't have to think about a hook. You don't have to think about captions, hashtags, who you're aiming it for. Like stories are just a lot more chilled. Like it can be very much what you're doing in the moment. They don't have to be as thought out. So having somewhat of a strategy has helped me kind of build that momentum and stay consistent. And I feel like when you post consistently, your audience are kind of almost waiting for the next post. Say if you post consistently on like Tuesdays, Fridays, Sundays, for example, maybe they'll be waiting for those days where you're going to post something new, or, you know, they're wondering what work you've been working on that week. And you can just kind of keep them updated and they can follow along your journey like as it's kind of happening. You're not leaving a big 3-week break and then bombarding them with loads of posts. It's very spread out and consistent, and you're in a way kind of drip feeding what you're up to without bombarding them with loads of information or, you know, too much at once. You need to find that right balance. I also feel like a strategy gives you that kind of long-term clarity. Sometimes you don't always just stop and think about, why am I actually posting this? Like, what am I aiming this towards? You don't really think about it too much. You just sort of do it as and when. But if you actually think about what you're posting and have a bit of that social media strategy, it kind of helps you see the bigger picture of where your art business is heading. A strategy might also help with exposure as well. Like every single post can be almost seen as a stepping stone to the next opportunity or the next sale or the next commission. So try not to keep putting it off until you have something worth posting. Just keep posting. So what are the core elements of a social media strategy? And how do you create a social media strategy? Firstly, you want to define your goals. So really think about what's important to you as an artist and what's your business based around. Is it commissions? Is it prints? Is it selling original work? Is it teaching? Is it brand recognition? Is it community building? Or is it a mixture of all of them? Secondly, you want to be clear on who your audience is, like really get to know your audience and aim your content towards them. So if you want more commissions, post more dog portraits and like process videos or packaging videos or client reaction videos, because that will kind of speak to pet owners or dog lovers, and then they're more likely to inquire about a commission because they can see that you're actively doing that, and they can see the process, they can see the end result, and they can see people's reactions from your work. If you want to sell more original artwork and maybe like wildlife prints, then you want to target wildlife lovers or art collectors. So how you present your work online and on social media needs to come across as like high quality and professional. So for example, good quality camera, iPhone camera is good enough. Just remember to wipe your lens. That can make such a difference. Good natural lighting, maybe reveal it outside. I know a lot of artists as like a hook will kind of stand outside and show themselves on camera, kind of holding their artwork with its back to the camera, and then gradually turn it around, kind of giving that big reveal. And those first few seconds keep people watching because they're kind of wanting to see what's on the other side of the canvas. So it's kind of a good hook, but a lot of artists are doing that. So maybe try something similar but maybe a little bit different that makes you stand out against them. If you're wanting more students to teach or kind of join your community, lean into content based around that too. So like I said before, tutorials or process videos of what you've been kind of teaching your students, show snippets of what they could experience if they joined your Patreon or worked through some of your tutorials and like the benefits of that, joining the community, and kind of base your content around that that's going to speak to your followers who are interested in learning from you. Next, you want to choose your platform. So whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Patreon, YouTube, there's that many different platforms for you to gain exposure. It's kind of hard to juggle them all at once. That is definitely what I'm finding at the minute. It is hard to kind of balance everything and remember to post on every single one. The good news is some of them you can connect. So like if you post on Instagram, it can automatically post to Facebook as well. But if you are someone that struggles to be consistent with social media generally, I think maybe focus on one or two. So like Instagram, Facebook. Don't worry about any of the others because you don't want to spread yourself too thin. Whichever platforms you decide to focus on, have a bit of a content mix as well. So obviously I said, depending on what you're focusing on and what audience you want to kind of attract, you don't just want to post the exact same kind of reels and content. You want to keep a bit of a variety. So maybe have sort of 70% of it based around your tutorials or your commissions, and then the other 30% based around, you in the studio, information about you as the artist, so people can kind of get to know you as well as like the teacher or the artist that they want to commission a portrait of or buy work from. Show your inspiration maybe as well. So no matter who your content is aimed towards, it'll always speak to them. Definitely try scheduling some of your posts as well. I can't tell you how much that helps me to stay sort of on track and consistent, and I can kind of go back and see what I've scheduled and fill in the gaps, add a few more, keep that kind of updated. Obviously I don't do that all the time because it is hard to kind of stay on top of, but that does help because sometimes when you're busy doing other things throughout the day or throughout the week, you can definitely forget, and then you'll go on your phone and you'll realize, oh, I did post at 5 o'clock or whatever, and it's because it's already pre-scheduled. So doing that is nice sometimes. It just saves you kind of thinking about it as another task to do that day because you've already done it. And also to try and increase the engagement on those posts. Don't forget to respond to comments and like build a relationship with the people that are supporting you. Joining in on those conversations and sharing stories to connect with people more personally, whether that is on your stories or as part of like a post, like behind the scenes, whatever it is. that does really help. So as I said before, a social media strategy and social media in general isn't essential for artists, but it can impact everything to do with your exposure and engagement and reach and success as an artist if you kind of push yourself and go for it. I think having a social media strategy is about supporting your creativity. You know, you're really thinking about what you're putting out there. It's not controlling it. Like, you don't want to be basing your work around what you think you need to be posting on social media. You want to work on what you want to work on, do what you have to do, but remember to kind of document along the way. So I think having that balanced approach helps avoid you feeling burnt out whilst kind of keeping that momentum and consistency. So work as you usually would, just film little bits here and there, but with intention. And with a social media strategy, you just want to see the bigger picture. So see your social media posts as part of like a larger business ecosystem, if you will, because that's kind of intertwined with your email lists, commissions, upcoming work, new print releases. Everything's intertwined, and I feel like social media is the place to market all of that and to have links here, there and everywhere, and just involve your audience and grow your business through that online platform, whatever it is you decide to kind of focus on. So those social media posts, like, think of them as like planting seeds in people's heads. So constantly posting and constantly being present now can lead to opportunities later down the line. Focus on like the progress more than perfecting every single post. That's definitely something that I struggle with. I want everything to be just right, and it doesn't always need to be because people don't notice half the time. I think being present and consistent is more important. And, you know, it's not easy to post all the time and be consistent and constantly be thinking of new hooks or ideas to post. It is difficult, and in a way that makes you stand out and be remembered amongst all those other artists that are posting and doing the same sort of thing. So yeah, definitely focus on your own social media page and just progressing with that and growing that, and not comparing yourself too much to what everyone else is doing. So what can you take away from this episode that'll make a difference, and what's something that you can actually do? So firstly, if you are someone that really struggles to post, just set like one weekly posting goal. Like, try and post every Friday, or give people an update as like a carousel or a reel on what you've been up to that week, and set some time aside in your kind of planner to do that, because you might think, oh, I'm not doing that, I could do that at a later date, but you're not then connecting with your audience, and that's really important to do. So definitely schedule that time into your workload to be able to post consistently every week. Maybe write down your goals or like your bigger business vision and kind of align your posts with that. Maybe choose one social media platform to commit to first, if you find that easier. And you want to repurpose your content and reuse content that you've already put out there. So one drawing can fuel like multiple posts. Process shots, time lapses, zooming in on details, and the final reveal of the finished piece. You can kind of reuse that with other pieces of work that you've done, show a bit of a montage, show you in your studio. You can always reuse and repurpose that content. You don't always have to film or do something new every single time. So yeah, if you take anything away from this episode, I guess you need to see social media as like a tool and not a chore, because it can help you so much, especially if you have a bit of time to reflect on what audience you want to attract, where you want to take your business, and kind of aim your content towards that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you found some value in it. And if you've been watching on YouTube, as usual, please remember to give it a like and subscribe to my channel to see more art-related content and future episodes. And if you've been listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, then I'd love it if you could leave a review and share the episode with someone that you think it would help. So thanks for listening, and I'll be back next week with a brand new episode.